Horoscope analysis, Kendra and Kona, Gemini rising. Rule tents that when lords of Kendras 1, 4, 7, 10, Konas, fine, or neutral houses are placed in other Kendras or Konas, the positive results of their houses are amplified while their negative traits are suppressed. Rule 11 indicates that if a trick lord, 6th, 8th, 12th, occupies a Kona, Kendra, or neutral house, in descending order of strength, the constructive expressions of the trick house improve significantly, even though challenges may still exist subtly. Mars in the 10th house, Pisces, conjunct Jupiter. Mars rules the 6th and 11th. Jupiter rules the 7th and 10th. Mars, as a trick lord, 6th, placed in a Kendra satisfies Rule 11. Its malefic tendencies are softened, and the positive sides, competitive edge, strategic energy, and courage, are enhanced in the house of profession. Jupiter, being a double Kendra lord, uplifts the Karma Bhava 10th. Their union brings strength, action, and ethical authority in one's work. Ideal for judicial, sports, medical, or military professions where logic and conviction unite. Saturn in the 9th house, Aquarius, own sign. Saturn rules the 8th and 9th. Though it owns a trick house, it also rules a Kona and is in its own sign in a Kona house. Rule 11 applies. The 8th house traits, mystery, longevity, and transformation, become sources of strength rather than suffering. Saturn in the 9th adds philosophical discipline and karmic wisdom, especially through hardship or duty. It favors long-term success in research, tradition-bound leadership, or spiritual lineage. Mercury in the 1st house, Gemini, own sign, conjunct Sun. Mercury rules the 1st and 4th houses, Lagna and Kendra. Sun rules the 3rd. Rule 10 applies. Mercury in own sign uplifts personality, intellect, and domestic intelligence. Sun's placement as 3rd lord in a Kendra neither harms nor significantly boosts, but under Mercury's strength, it enhances courage and initiative. This pairing makes for a confident speaker, intellectual influencer, and one capable of leading with clarity and composure. Venus in the 5th house, Libra, own sign, conjunct Saturn. Venus rules 5th and 12th. Saturn rules 8th and 9th. Venus, in its own sign and a Kona, satisfies Rule 10. Saturn, although ruling a trick, also owns the 9th, fulfilling Rule 11. Their conjunction in a Kona leads to karmic creativity, refined intellect, and disciplined love. This combination is ideal for artists, teachers, or philosophers who create from depth and maturity. Emotional expression is regulated, but long-term fulfillment through dharmic effort is assured. Moon in the 2nd house, Cancer, own sign. Moon rules the 2nd and is placed in own sign, strengthening family support, wealth, and voice. Rule 10 applies. Artha House Lord in own sign amplifies speech, lineage values, and sustenance. Negative traits like moodiness in financial matters are suppressed. This favors careers involving emotion-led communication, like counseling, music, or diplomacy. Jupiter in the 7th house, Sagittarius, own sign, conjunct Mars. Jupiter rules 7th and 10th. Mars rules 6th and 11th. Jupiter in its own sign in a Kendra is an ideal case of Rule 10. Mars as trick lord satisfies Rule 11 by being in a Kendra and under Jupiter's influence. This pair energizes relationships and partnerships, creating dynamic unions, business success, or high-visibility marriage karma. Their aspect on the Lagna brings assertiveness, moral courage, and refined direction in life. Sun in the 3rd house, Leo, own sign, conjunct Mercury. Sun rules the 3rd and is in own sign. Mercury rules 1st and 4th. Rule 10 fully applies. Mercury uplifts the neutral house of courage and expression, while Sun in own sign strengthens initiative and younger sibling karma. Their combination provides leadership in communication, publishing, and performance. Native gains confidence in skill development and courageous self-marketing. Saturn in the 10th house, Pisces, conjunct Venus. Saturn rules 8th and 9th. Venus rules 5th and 12th. Saturn as Kona and Trick Lord and Venus as Kona and Trick Lord fulfill Rule 11. Their placement in a Kendra raises the constructive aspects of the 8th and 12th, depth, spiritual insight, and healing potential, while enhancing dharmic wisdom and creativity. Professionally, this is favorable for arts, healing, mysticism, or work in secretive or research-driven sectors where beauty meets discipline. Jupiter in the 4th house, Virgo, conjunct Moon. Jupiter rules 7th and 10th. Moon rules 2nd. All are Artha or Kendra lords. Rule 10 applies cleanly. In the 4th, this enhances education, homeland fortune, maternal support, and public status. The emotional grounding of Moon and philosophical strength of Jupiter work together to produce an empathetic, wise, and socially conscious leader, ideal for academics, social workers, and cultural advisors. Horoscope analysis, Kendra and Kona, Libra rising. Rule 10 suggests that when the lords of Kendras, 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, Konas, 5th, 9th, or neutral houses are placed in other Kendras or Konas, the positive results of their houses are amplified and their negative outcomes are diminished. Rule 11 indicates that trick lords, 6th, 8th, or 12th lords placed in a Kona, Kendra, or neutral house begin to express the positive facets of their difficult domains, such as deep transformation, competitiveness, or spiritual insight in an elevated form. Venus in the 1st house, Libra own sign conjunct Mercury. Venus rules the Lagna and 8th, Mercury rules the 9th and 12th. Venus in its own sign in Lagna aligns with Rule 10, amplifying personal grace, beauty, and leadership magnetism. Despite being the 8th lord, Venus's Lagna ownership neutralizes its malefic aspects. Mercury, as 9th lord in a Kendra, fulfills Rule 10 again, adding dharmic intellect and diplomacy. Even Mercury's 12th lordship is refined by its association with Venus. This pairing blesses the native with spiritual charm, elegant persuasion, and excellent karma in relationships and mentorship. Saturn in the 4th house, Capricorn own sign, conjunct Sun. Saturn rules the 4th and 5th houses. Sun rules the 11th. Saturn in own sign and Kendra powerfully activates Rule 10. Its dual rulership over Kendra and Kona stabilizes the emotional base, home life, and educational karma. Sun's Upachaya lordship brings strength in social gain, and in Saturn's company, the native becomes a disciplined leader. This conjunction suits structured thinkers, educators, or authority figures who rise through diligence and rooted ethics. Mars in the 10th house, Cancer, debilitated, conjunct Jupiter. Mars rules the 2nd and 7th, Artha and Kendra. Jupiter rules the 3rd and 6th. Mars is debilitated, but still a Kendra lord, and Jupiter is a trick lord, 6th, as well as neutral, 3rd. Rule 10 applies for Mars in a Kendra. Rule 11 applies for Jupiter. Despite Mars's debilitation, Jupiter uplifts the 6th house traits, competitiveness, health discipline, and service orientation. This combo benefits those who grow through adversity, excelling in law, conflict resolution, or public roles that require strategic wisdom and humility. Moon in the 10th house, Cancer conjunct Mars. Moon rules the 10th and is placed in own sign, textbook Rule 10 application. Mars rules the 2nd and 7th. This duo in a Kendra blesses the native with courageous authority, persuasive speech, and deep ambition. Even though Mars is debilitated, Moon's strength offsets the weakness, enhancing professional expression, leadership, and emotional maturity. Their aspect on the 4th indicates a drive to build legacy, real estate wealth, or roots through karma. Sun in the 11th house, Leo own sign, conjunct Mercury. Sun rules the 11th and sits in own sign. Mercury rules the 9th and 12th. Rule 10 applies for both. Sun in Upachaya uplifts gains. Mercury as Kona Lord enhances luck, education, and ethical social connections. Their conjunction fuels brilliant networking, financial fluency, and clever outreach. Mercury's 12th lordship is refined into foreign success or behind-the-scenes influence. Strong placement for public relations, media, or education-based leadership. Jupiter in the 3rd house, Sagittarius own sign, conjunct Saturn. Jupiter rules the 3rd and 6th. Saturn rules the 4th and 5th. Rule 11 applies to Jupiter, a trick lord in own sign in a neutral house, enhancing willpower, courage, and disciplined communication. Saturn as Kendra and Kona lord satisfies Rule 10. This pair creates serious thinkers, excellent strategists, and karmically mature communicators. It favors educators, policymakers, or spiritual guides with deep authority. Their aspect on the 9th enhances dharmic writing, philosophical expression, and long-distance influence. Venus in the 5th house, Aquarius, conjunct Jupiter. Venus rules Lagna and 8th. Jupiter rules 3rd and 6th. Venus in a Kona fulfills Rule 10, and its 8th lordship is neutralized by Lagna rulership. Jupiter, as 6th lord in Kona, triggers Rule 11. This pairing enriches creativity with philosophical depth and love with spiritual karma. It's ideal for artists, counselors, and spiritual teachers. Their aspect on the 11th grants influential friendships and financially rewarding associations with higher values. Mars in the 7th house, Aries, own sign, conjunct Saturn. Mars rules 2nd and 7th. Saturn rules 4th and 5th. Both are functional benefics in a Kendra. Mars in own sign strongly satisfies Rule 10, elevating marriage, contracts, and diplomacy. Saturn brings endurance, fairness, and karmic stability to relationships. This is a powerful placement for those in legal fields, consulting, or leadership in partnerships. Their aspect on Lagna gives a disciplined, poised, and forceful demeanor with high self-awareness and control. Mercury in the 9th house, Gemini, own sign, conjunct Sun. Mercury rules 9th and 12th. Sun rules 11th. Mercury in own sign in Kona fully activates Rule 10, uplifting faith, learning, and spiritual intelligence. Sun in conjunction further energizes outreach and ethical influence. Mercury's 12th lordship is softened and transformed into abstract intelligence, insight, and success in foreign or spiritual environments. This combination is excellent for professors, spiritual advisors, or publishers with global vision and clear mission. Horoscope analysis, Kendra and Kona, Aquarius rising. Rule 10 supports the idea that when lords of Kendras, 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th Konas, 5th, 9th, or neutral houses are placed in other Kendras or Konas, they uplift the benefic outcomes of those houses and diminish their drawbacks. Rule 11 affirms that when trick lords 6th, 8th, or 12th are placed in a Kendra, Kona, or neutral house, their positive capacities, like discipline, transformation, or spiritual detachment, are refined and strengthened despite retaining some inherent challenge. Saturn in the 1st house, Aquarius, own sign, conjunct Mercury. Saturn rules the 1st and 12th. Mercury rules 5th and 8th. Saturn in own sign in Lagna fully satisfies Rule 10, giving stability, restraint, and karmic strength to the identity. Mercury, although 8th lord, is also a Kona lord, 5th, and when placed in Lagna with Saturn, Rule 11 is triggered, refining speech, analytical depth, and transformative intelligence. This combination favors philosophical leaders, policymakers, or researchers with deep foresight and public dignity. Venus in the 10th house, Scorpio, conjunct Mars. Venus rules the 4th and 9th, both Kendras Konas. Mars rules 3rd and 10th. Both are functional benefics for Aquarius. Rule 10 applies strongly. Mars in own house boosts career authority, and Venus brings diplomacy and grace into public affairs. This pair creates a bold, charming achiever with capacity for leadership in creative industries, technology, or diplomacy. Their aspect on the 4th benefits home legacy and status. Moon in the 6th house, Cancer, own sign, conjunct Jupiter. Moon rules the 6th and sits in own sign. Here, Rule 11 applies perfectly. The 6th house becomes a source of emotional mastery, nurturing service, and victory over enmity. Jupiter rules 2nd and 11th and brings wealth, network, and philosophical maturity. Together, they refine emotional intelligence for service, healing, and community success. Ideal for therapists, medical professionals, or teachers of emotional intelligence and resilience. Sun in the 7th house, Leo own sign, conjunct Mercury. Sun rules the 7th and Mercury rules 5th and 8th. Sun in own sign in a Kendra fulfills Rule 10, blessing partnerships, business leadership, and public stature. Mercury adds analytical and creative vision. Despite its 8th lordship, Rule 11 allows Mercury to bring strategic clarity, especially in relationships and alliances. This conjunction is powerful for those in politics, media, or law, where persuasion and alliances drive success. Mars in the 3rd house, Aries own sign, conjunct Saturn Stad. Mars rules the 3rd and 10th. Saturn rules 1st and 12th. Mars in own sign satisfies Rule 10, strengthening courage, articulation, and initiative. Saturn supports through mature restraint, and as a Lagna and Trick Lord, 12th, it fulfills Rule 11, disciplining subconscious energy and adding long-term karmic value. This pair suits journalists, lawyers, or business developers with mental resilience and communicative power. Jupiter in the 2nd house, Pisces own sign, conjunct Venus. Jupiter rules 2nd and 11th. Venus rules 4th and 9th. Both are functional benefics and well-placed. Rule 10 is powerfully satisfied. Jupiter in own sign in Artha House grants abundant speech, wealth, and family harmony. Venus adds creative intelligence and dharmic refinement. Their pairing enhances teaching, artistic productivity, and ethical financial leadership, ideal for spiritual entrepreneurs, educators, or value-driven professionals. Mercury in the 5th house, Gemini, own sign, conjunct Moon. Mercury rules 5th and 8th. Moon rules 6th. Rule 10 applies to Mercury in own sign in a Kona, bringing intellectual brilliance and curiosity. Moon as 6th lord fulfills Rule 11 when paired with the Kona lord in a Kona, resulting in service-oriented creativity, emotional maturity, and conflict resolution skill. This duo is ideal for psychological counselors, strategy educators, or emotionally literate leaders. Saturn in the 12th house, Capricorn own sign, conjunct Mars. Saturn rules Lagna and 12th. Mars rules 3rd and 10th. Saturn in own sign in a trick house fulfills Rule 11, spiritualizes isolation, past life debts, and institutional roles. Mars enhances karmic authority in action and career. Their conjunction is excellent for foreign work, medical research, or inner transformation roles. Their aspect on the 6th boosts service, competition, and health mastery through controlled discipline. Sun in the 9th house, Libra, conjunct Jupiter. Sun rules 7th, Jupiter rules 2nd and 11th. Sun is debilitated, but Jupiter uplifts it through dharmic anchoring. Jupiter in Kona satisfies Rule 10 and blesses higher learning, spiritual guidance, and family values. Sun, even in fall, helps anchor philosophical clarity in relationships and career. This pairing benefits spiritual mentors, legal professionals, or visionary advisors who turn personal challenge into collective wisdom.